What's up, everybody? This is the Macho Man, Randy Savage. I'm just kidding. Happy Halloween, everybody. This is Kevin Frasard. I'm 5'9". I weigh currently 221. I'm right down there in the morning, 221. It's been a long time since I shot any video with Jeff here, but we've finally made it happen, and I do this every single year. This is like my third year in a row, just dressing up, just having a good time with my workout. But as far as what my competitive history is, I started competing in 2011, and it took a handful of tries just learning how to diet properly and be able to like take the pain and suffering, so to speak. And then eventually I just got pushed into, I ran into a really good training partner back in 2010, and you know, he told me that he was pushing for one of his contests the following year in the springtime, and that was my first show, and it actually spoiled me pretty bad because very, very unexpectedly I ended up winning the overall. I just wiped the floor with everybody. It was just like the best feeling ever, just total surprise. And then I was pretty much hooked competing after that. And the next series of shows that I did was that following summer right there. I did the Nicole Wilkins, and then I did the Nicole Wilkins again in 2012. 2013, I did the Natural Northern Michigan. And then after that, I took 2 years off, went back and did the Natural Northern Michigan, won the overall. And then 2017, so I took another 2-year break and decided I wanted to go for my natural pro card at the time when I was still drug-free. And I ended up, you know, winning my pro card. And then after that, I had no more competitive goals. It was pretty much over and done with, and I just wanted to focus on all my other hobbies that always just kind of took a back seat because my whole focus, my whole life was just training, and I did not want anybody to be a better natural bodybuilder than me. So that was my main focus for all those years. But now that it's been over and done with, I get to have all my other hobbies like guitar playing and stuff like that, which I have a pretty good following on here on YouTube. If you guys want to check me out, it's just my first and last name, Kevin Frasard. I play a bunch of death metal, thrash metal. I write my own music. I do cover songs, unboxings. I'm always checking out different guitars, things of that nature. So if you're interested, I'm sure Jeff will provide a link in the description for you. And as far as what got me into bodybuilding, it was a really early age. I started when I was 14. It was just one day I was kind of hanging out with the wrong crowd, like the grunge kind of kids, or the people that they were quote unquote called freaks back then, with the baggy pants and the chains and stuff. Yeah, I was one of those quiet, introverted kids. So obviously I connected really well as a bodybuilder because you just got to focus on yourself and just pretty much ignore people, which I was already good at. So it was like, I just remember it was one day I came home from school and I started kind of hanging around the wrong crowd, and they were getting into trouble, and I just didn't want to go down that road because my dad would have kicked my ass, rightfully so. So I just decided one day I came home, I said, Mom, I want to change my wardrobe, I want to start dressing better, and I don't want to hang out with these people anymore. So pretty much right away, ran to the clothing stores, changed my whole wardrobe. I came to school the next day, everyone was like, what the hell happened to this guy? Just like that, yeah. And then it pretty much, within those same couple days, I worked out with a buddy after school, and I was hooked ever since. It's like once I picked up that barbell, I just never put it down. And it's just been the same way ever since, just consistently. It just crossed 25 years that I've been training just this past September. So it's been a long journey, but I would never take any of it back. I love this stuff to death. Yeah.
You're not dieting right now, right? You stay pretty lean around it?
No, so I like to, that's another thing too, is once I got away from all that pressure of competing and stuff like that, and just constantly giving a shit about how you look all the time, it was, you know, I started to be more social, get out more, because I never did any of that really. I mean, like most kids through high school, you go to your weekend parties and things of that nature, or when you turn 21, you might go to the bar a handful of times, but I was never really into that, and I didn't get crazy with it. You know, Monday through Friday, even Monday through Saturday, or even Sunday on top of it, I was always just eating properly because that was my main focus, that was my main drive. But yeah, I would loosen up a little bit, but nothing to what kind of how I do now. Now I'll actually get together with friends and be more social, because I had to work on that once you know, competing and stuff was over with. I wanted to kind of learn how to get out and do more things and just have have fun, quote unquote. So yeah, like once a week I'll let myself have like some pizza, or I'll go grab a drink or two with my buddies, shoot pool and things like that. But yeah, so it came a little bit later in life, but it's never too late. But it's just I could never strike that balance, because to me the only balance was the pendulum had to swing to the one side if I was going to be as good as I possibly could at this.
Yeah. Well, so. I think that's a lot of bodybuilders feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us have that same kind of story, like how we got into it. I mean, I was always really short, so I would get picked on from other people and things like that. That's a huge story that most bodybuilders won't even talk about. They don't want to admit that that's kind of how they got into lifting weights and being so aggressive in the gym. Is like, I'm one of those people, I'll be the first to admit it. That's how I started, and that was a way for me to take that negativity and turn it into a positive, and that's what I did. Same thing with music, that hateful, aggressive music that I love playing and I love listening to. Like, that and bodybuilding got me through a lot of tough times. So yeah, it's still with me to this day, and it's just I found a different way to kind of channel it and keep this lifestyle around where I can really capitalize on it and use it.
Are you going to compete again, or you're undecided? Or?
As long as, because I have like my lower back injury comes and goes, and it just whenever it decides to knock on its door and remind me that it's there, it'll stick around for a while. Like I remember like 5-6 years ago, it showed itself again, and then it took like maybe a year, and then it finally just went away one day. So I'm kind of waiting for that to subside, and then if I feel like I can give it my 100%, because I never want to go into a situation like I don't want to step on stage where I'm not at my best. Like I refuse to let that happen. So by this December or even into January, I got to take a look at how I look at that point too, and decide if 6 months is going to be enough time, because I always give myself. If I think I need 20 weeks, I give myself 24. If I need 24, I'm going to give myself 28. It's always that way. Yes, yeah. Make sure. Yeah, I don't want to crash the plane, into the show. I want it nice, steady, land on that runway nice and smooth, and just.
I remember you talking about that was brutal, right?
That's when I worked with Cliff, and it was Cliff Wilson. Great coach, great coach. That was the first time, I ever really worked with anybody, one-on-one like that. And it just, that was a 27-week prep. And the plan was back then to do that show, and then the Michigan was going to be 7 or 8 weeks away. And that was the show that I really wanted to compete, and I wanted to ultimately win that show as a natural. And at that point, 2 weeks out, I remember just in between sets, I'd start sobbing, I'd start crying, because I was so hungry and I was just so destined to win. Like that was all I thought about for like that whole prep.
You were like a skeleton muscle.
There was still a little bit of weight that had to come off. Like my number one problem area is the front of my quads. Those are very stubborn when it comes to holding on to body fat, and pretty much all the way. I remember Cliff saying backstage, and I agree, because I always thought the same way. Cliff's like, man, you hold body fat like a girl does. Yeah, I really do. Everything else will come off tight, and just those legs, it doesn't seem like they move, or they move very little at all. And I still pretty much have that same problem. It's just it sounds easy on paper. It's like if you got to get down to this digit body fat from where your starting point is, but actually physically doing it with the eating regimen and everything, it's a lot harder than what it looks like on paper. Anybody who's ever competed before,
We're suffering through it.
Yeah, and there's a different level of that with each competitor, and unfortunately that's my level of suffering, is trying to get that last bit of stubborn body fat off to where you actually feel like you can just dominate on the stage.
Has your training regimen changed, bud, as opposed to like when you were competing as when you're kind of in a holding zone right now?
So as I've gotten older, and we got 25 years worth of just battle, on the battlefield, things don't feel the same. I'm approaching 40 years old. I'll be 40 June 5th, and so what I do now is I used to exclusively train like max OT style training. That's a low volume, heavy weight kind of regimen. It's like a 5 days on, 2 days off kind of split. Every 8 to 10 weeks, you take a 1 week break, and then you go through the next phase of it and doing like another routine like that. And I used to train like that consistently, because that gave me my best progress. But after several years consistently doing that, getting older, and everything that goes in with that. And I'm also a drywall finisher, so I hang drywall, I finish it. So I've always been in skilled trades on top of what I do, and then playing crazy freaking death metal chops. yeah, just a lot of wear and tear on the joints. But it's just, yeah, where are we going with this? I just farted out.
Oh, no, I guess just your training as opposed to how it was then.
Oh, yeah. So now I'll still train the way that I do, like a similar max OT kind of approach where it's like 4 to 6 rep range, low volume, heavy weight. And then the following week is when I'll switch it up like you guys saw today in the video. The rep range, I take the rep range up higher, the rest periods are a little bit shorter, and there's just a little more volume involved. And then the following week it'll go back into, like a 4 to 6 rep range kind of deal.
Awesome, man. Well, happy Halloween. Thanks for the workout, and we'll catch up with you again.
Happy Halloween, everybody.